Okay, so once again, good evening, everyone. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone to please turn on your cameras throughout the session. This helps us foster better engagement and ensures your attendance is counted for certificate purposes. And so please stay until the end of this session for the attendance form and your certificates. This evening, we're joined by Ms. Mariam Begum, an accomplished project manager, agile coach, and product owner with over 20 years of experience leading digital transformation in global enterprises, including Fortune 500 companies. She has trained more than 10,000 professionals worldwide and is known for her practical, real world approach to project management. So let's make this most of the hour and feel free to engage and ask questions. Thank you so much. Over to you, Miss Mariam.
Thank you, Tia, and thank you everyone for joining this class. So without much further ado, let me share my screen. Tia, can you stop sharing your screen so I can share my screen? Thank you. Okay, give me a moment. Right. Okay. All right. I believe you all can see my screen. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about PMP and why is it still the gold standard in 2025? Why are we still looking for PMP certification? Okay, so let's start with a quick but powerful fact which I want to share. 85% of high performing projects are led by PMP certified managers. Now, this statistic isn't just from anywhere. I didn't pluck from anywhere. It's from PMI, the Project Management Institute, the global authority on project management. So what this means, PMP certified professionals aren't just the normal project managers. They are strategic assets to their organizations. So why does it really matter? Because in today's fast-paced, uncertain, and often chaotic business world, employers are just not looking for people who can manage tasks. They don't want task bearers. They are looking for professionals who can lead, who can plan strategically, who can drive execution, manage change, communicate across all the silos, and deliver results with confidence and consistency. So that's exactly where the PMP certification comes in. This session is not going to be a dry one. I'll try my best not to. But it's going to be a compact, insightful power hour where you will understand what PMP truly is, identify how it applies directly to your career goals, and walk away with clarity on your next steps if you are really serious about elevating your professional standing. So it doesn't matter. You can be from IT, you can be from construction, you can be from finance, logistics, government, or even education. Project management is the lifeblood of successful initiatives. And PMP is your passport that gets you into these global leadership circles. Now, you have heard you are here and committed to explore what PMP can do for you. But let's get this very clear because people always get confused. What PMP actually is and who is it designed for? PMP stands for Project Management Professional. So it's not just a title, it's a globally recognized gold standard certification for project leaders. It signals to employers, clients, and teams that you have the knowledge, the skills, the credibility to lead projects successfully, regardless of the size, scope, or sector. Now, it's offered by Project Management Institute. Short form is PMI. the world's leading authority on project management standards. PMI isn't just a certifying body, it's the global ecosystem for project professionals. Just like how we look up to Harvard and Oxford, it's that equivalent version for project management. So now, here is where it's getting very exciting. PMP is not limited to just one industry, like I mentioned earlier. It's for you. If you are leading or aspire to lead projects in, for example, IT, where you think about software rollouts, cloud migrations, app development, construction, from high-rise buildings to roadworks, finance. Yes, finance, where you have to manage regulatory compliance or digital transformation projects. Healthcare, launching health initiatives, managing hospital upgrades, for example, government. Also, where you drive public service innovation, infrastructure, and citizen services. And it doesn't stop there. PMP is recognized in more than 200 countries. So whether you are working in Malaysia, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, Canada, or Kenya, the PMP badge speaks the same respected language: project excellence. So if you are someone who manages deadlines and deliverables, you lead a team or coordinate across departments, you face stakeholder pressure, want to drive efficiency and business value through structured execution, then PMP isn't just for you. It is made for you, with you in mind. Okay, so PMP is not just a certificate. It's a strategic career asset that commands global respect and higher earnings. So according to PMI's 2023 salary survey, PMP holders earn 16% more on average than their non-certified peers. That's not just a small amount. That's a career level pay boost that reflects the real market demand for certified project leaders. And this premium isn't limited to some economies. It is across all economies through Asia, Middle East, and Africa, where certification is often something they look upon when they are looking for a project manager. Now, currently, there are about approximately 1.4 million professionals around the world who hold PMP certification. Now, this is not just a simple number. It refers a global network of elite project managers. So you'll join the PMP community, you join a tribe of professionals who will speak the same structured language for project delivery, no matter where you work or you live. Now, another powerful point I like to add is PMP is recognized by 80% of Fortune 500 companies. Whether it's Google, Apple, Amazon, Mercedes-Benz, you name it, you can see that they have that recognition in them. So these companies, why they're recognizing it? Because they trust PMP as the benchmark for project leadership. It is built in their hiring system and even in the internal promotion. Okay, so let's move on. So why PMP is absolutely critical in this moment of time? I can live without it, or I can just go for other certification. We are living in a project-driven economy where everything from launching to a new digital product to managing a vaccine rollout is handled as a what? As a project. But now here's the twist. These projects are no longer simple or local. They're digital first, fast moving, have multiple stakeholders, and often sometimes go through multiple time zone, culture, and business units. So we are seeing a growing trend of cross-border teams collaborating virtually, working in cloud-based environments with a mix of in-house and freelance experts and also your contractors. So all this requires what? A new kind of leader, not just someone who just track the deadline, but someone who can lead the transformation. So this is where the hybrid project managers are coming in demand. What do I mean by hybrid? Someone who is fluent in both the traditional, which is a waterfall, and agile methodologies. Okay, so when you are running, let's say you are having a scope-based government project, and then you have to lead an agile sprint in a tech setup. So all this, you must have those ability and those skills as a project manager to help you wherever you go. Because projects don't come in one flavor anymore. There's more to it. Okay, so since 2021, the PMP exam has been updated to include both predictive and adaptive. Predictive means what? The traditional waterfall methodology, and adaptive is the agile or hybrid approaches. So when you become a PMP certified, it's not just textbook theory. You have to prove that you can deliver results in any environment. Okay, so now you're doing what? You're aligning with the global standards. Okay. Okay, so now let's get into the nitty-gritties of the PMP certification exam. Now here is where everybody feels nervous. But once you understand the structure and the strategy behind the exam, it becomes manageable and doable. First, the PMP exam is based on what? The content of the PMP exam pulls from 3 resources. It's not just PIMBOK 7. It's PIMBOK Guide 6. Yes, it's still valid. PIMBOK Guide 7th edition and the Agile Practice Guide. Now take note of this critical update because 50% of the exam questions are focused on agile and hybrid environments now. 50% is a lot, it's about half of the exam. And this reflects the reality of project work today. You have to be flexible, fast-paced, and collaborative. So if you worked in Scrum, Kanban, or even informal iterative approaches, you are more prepared than you actually think. Now for the exam format, you'll be answering 180 questions in 230 minutes. So that's about 4 hours. But you get 2 scheduled 10 minutes break. The exam is not about you memorize formulas or, and then just think about the definitions and just vomit it all out. Most of the questions are scenario based. I had experience of setting those questions for training provider because they want to do the mock questions. So I had experience, and now most of them are scenario based. Why? They want to test how you apply the concept in real life project situations. Okay, and they're looking into the 3 core domains. People takes about 42%, focuses on leadership, team building, conflict resolution, and stakeholder management. Process covers executing, monitoring, scheduling, budgeting, quality control, risk, and change management. Now, this is the technical backbone of the project management, right? Yep. Then lastly is the business environment. Although it's only 8%, still, it talks about compliance, alignment with organizational strategy, and delivering business value. So the exam is not just testing your ability to follow steps. It's evaluating your ability to think like a strategic project leader. Okay, so this is how it's gonna be. It's been there since 2021. Now, why is a career differentiator? Why do I use this word? Because when you have a PMP, people look at you as a leader. You have very good decision-making skills, and you can do very good execution. You excel in that. So when a recruiter, hiring manager, or project sponsor sees PMP in your resume, they don't just see, okay, it's PMP. They see someone who can lead with the structure, confidence, can make tough project calls under pressure, deliver results, and PMP is a proof of competence and credibility, right? So PMP is often used. Why? Because it gives people trust. Okay, you got the PMP, that means it's from PMI. And I trust PMI to be one of the good project management bodies in the world. Okay, and third, it opens international assignment and high salary bands. Many multinational companies have internal pay brackets, and PMP certification can automatically qualify for a higher grade role. Sometimes they put right in their job description, PMP is preferred. So when you have a PMP, you can negotiate, you know. So how many of you have ever felt overlooked for promotion despite delivering results? It happens for us because we don't have the PMP, so people are like, okay, maybe the next round. Sometimes it's not about your performance, it's the positioning. So PMP gives you the visibility and professional branding that sets you apart from the rest, be it your resume or on the LinkedIn. Okay. So now let's talk about the day one we will be covering for this 5 days course, the full 5 days course, when you decide to, okay, enroll with Guarantor Academy. How is going to happen? Okay. So for day one, we will talk about the fundamentals. We will talk about the PMP books, the PIM book guide, 6 verses 7, and also the Agile. We'll simplify how things are happening. What's the difference between project and operations? And you will decode the EEFs and the OPAs. EEF is enterprise environmental factors, example, government policy, culture, and market conditions, and how to leverage an organizational process assets. That's the OPA. Templates, historical data, SOPs. And you will look into how to navigate the organization system like a pro. So you'll be doing system thinking as well. You'll get introduced to organizational structures like the functional matrix and projectized, and understand how this environment will affect your power, decision making, and communication flow as a project manager. Now, you can have the best tools, the best timeline, and the best budget. But if your team isn't aligned, not engaged, or empowered, your project will struggle. PMP certified professionals are expected not just to manage timelines, but to build and lead high performing teams. So, what does it mean exactly? You build and empower teams. You start by learning how to form teams with intention, not just assigning roles, but understanding their strengths, their motivations, their dynamics. You learn how to use the Tuckman's team development model. Some of you will be familiar with that. Forming, storming, norming, and performing. Then you apply motivational theories like the Maslow's in real world team settings. How to delegate authority while building psychological safety and ownership. This is where you stop being just a task manager, but becoming a what? A people leader. How to define your team ground rules. Here you'll explore how to establish behavioral norms that prevent conflict even before it starts. Then you will learn to do the facilitation of early team agreements on communication, escalation, availability, and accountability. How to co-create rules with your team. Don't impose, work with that. Now, this skill is critical if you are managing diverse, cross-functional or multicultural teams. I think that's the norm now, right? One project doesn't just sit in one particular department. It's going places. And you will also learn how to use interest-based negotiation techniques. How to get in the buy-in. How to balance the project constraints with human needs. How to train and engage people, especially the virtual team, which is a bit challenging because it could be different time zones. You know, they're spread across different continents. They may be having internet challenges, power challenges. How are we going to do that? So all this we will explore on the first day. And also we look into communication planning, knowledge sharing methods, creating project vision clarity. We get into all this in detail on day one. Now let's take a moment to talk about one of the biggest evolution in PMP now. When you look at the screen, what do you see? You see two triangles. One is the old PMI Thailand triangle, and another one is the new version. The old one was what? Traditionally, it focused on three distinct areas. Technical project management. You master the tools, scheduling methods, scope, cost, risk, and integration. Your hard skills toolkit. Leadership, emotional intelligence, team building, conflict resolution, influencing. These are your soft skills. Strategic and business management. Understanding your project's alignment to organizational goals to get the ROI and contributing to long-term value. But this was okay. It was working very well. But as project becomes more agile, digital, and globally distributed, PMI recognized the definition of a successful project manager has shifted. So this is the new talent triangle, which is there since 2022. It has the same, very similar thing, but has more like on inclusive and future-focused categories. Ways of working. This replaces what? Technical PM. So it includes a broad range of delivery approach. Waterfall, agile, hybrid, system thinking, design thinking, everything is coming in. And you have to learn to choose the right method for the right project, because not one method will apply to all projects. Next is power skills. This is the modern evolution of leadership. PMI renamed it to emphasize the communication, collaboration, and empathy. They are not just soft skills, they are powerful moves. Okay, where you use them to lead your cross-functional teams, to influence without authority, to build trust across cultures, and of course, to resolve the conflicts and inspire and motivate performance. Next is the business acumen. This domain has remained, but they have reworded it because they want you to what? Understand the bigger picture. Know how project outcomes affect the bottom line. Making decisions that drive business value, not just project completion. So when you join our 5-day PMP course, it is not about just helping you to pass the exam. We train you in all the three dimensions of the talent triangle. That is the ultimate goal, so that you will become an all-rounder. So this triangle isn't just a model. It's a mirror showing where you are and where you could be. The PMP isn't just about, like I said, memorizing and just vomiting everything out. It's about transforming how you lead projects, people. Okay? Now, PMP now have embraced things called agile. Many people still think agile is just for IT or for software developers. But in today's environment, agile is a mindset that applies across industries. Whether you are managing a product launch, a construction project, or a marketing campaign, the PMP exam today reflects this shift. In fact, 50% of the questions are now based on agile and hybrid project environments. That's why just knowing and understanding and memorizing this principle isn't not only optional, it is essential. You have to know the Agile Manifesto and the 12 principles, which was written in 2001, but it's still valid till today, where they talk about individuals and interactions over process and tools, working solutions over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan, and many more. And then from that, they came with the 12 powerful principles, which You'll explore in the full course because we have a very limited time. I won't be able to go through everything. But here you will learn the principles we will mostly be touching on is prioritizing customer satisfaction through early and continuous delivery. Welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Build projects around motivated individuals. Reflect and adapt regularly for continuous improvement. So we'll break down these principles with real world scenario, exam style questions, and of course you'll have a lot of group activities so that you apply what you learn. You have to practically apply. That's my approach. It's not just you read, you go. No, for me, I want you to show and tell also. Okay. Next is the servant leader mindset. Agile isn't just about what you deliver, it's also about how you lead. So you'll be introduced to the servant leader model, and then it is critical in agile environments because teams are self-organizing. The trust and collaboration now replaces what? Command and control. The project manager now becomes a facilitator, a coach, someone who unblocks the path, not a top-down controller. So here we will tell you how to train yourself to adopt this mindset and also how this will help not only you, your team, and the agile values, collaboration, adaptability, and value delivery. This is their value system. We will deep dive these core agile values, collaboration, adaptability, and value delivery. So agile is more than just the in thing or the buzzword. It's a career critical mindset shift now. And in PMP certified world, those who embrace agile race faster, adopt better, and lead stronger. Next, we'll move on to day 2. This is where the real fun will slowly start to kick in because it's all about planning and control. Projects don't fail at execution, they fail in planning. Okay, so here we talked about focusing on mastering the tools, techniques, decision-making strategies, going into planning a successful project from the ground up. Okay, so for day 2, we'll start by helping you to select the right project approach. So that means we'll give you a case study and ask you to see what do you think is the best approach. You will, of course, learn the minute details between predictive, adaptive, and hybrid models. How to evaluate project characteristics, the risk, complexity, the stakeholder management to determine the best fit. How PMI expects you is to demonstrate the flexibility in the exam and in the real world. So we'll do a lot of scenario-based practice, case studies. So you're ready to answer questions like, which approach would you use for a high change environment with early customer feedback loops? You can instantly say, okay, because I have done it on practice, I see how it works and what doesn't work. So this is the answer I'm going to choose. So the skill is key for cross-industry relevance, especially consulting, tech, regulatory, healthcare, it's many more. Then we think about what? The plan and manage scope, budget, and schedule. This is the heart of the planning process. One of the most heavily tested on the PMP exam. So here we'll walk you through how to build a work breakdown structure, WBS. Techniques to define and control project scope and avoid scope creep. Now you'll tell me, in terms of agile is still okay. Yeah, in terms of agile is still okay. But there also we need to have floodgates. Budget estimation and cost baseline. Creating realistic and trackable schedules using tools like critical path method, schedule compression. So when you do this day 2, you should be equipped with what? Estimating techniques, schedule network diagrams, how to read, how to create them. Performance measurements tool like earned value management, EVM. And yes, you'll also cover how these concepts will appear in the exam. How are they going to test you? And later we think about the plan for quality, procurement, and governance. We'll show you how to create a full spectrum plan, not just for time and money, but also for quality, where you define quality standards, you select the control tools, control chart, checklist, integrate continuous improvement. Six Sigma is one of them. And procurement, how to plan for external vendors and contracts. What type of contracts can I use and why should I be looking at them? Fixed price, time and materials, cost reusable, which one will be more appropriate for this project? And cover procurement risk and legal implications, governance, define clear approval checkpoints, understand escalation routes, how to align your project with organizational policy and compliance requirement. Sounds very huge. That's why day 2 will be a bit heavy. But yeah, this is your planning muscle, because the best project leaders don't just manage work, they design it. Now, we talk about scope, schedule, cost, quality, procurement, and more. But what separates a strategic project manager from someone just tick boxing in their ability to integrate everything into one cohesive, realistic, and outcome-driven plan? What is that? Integration management. And that is a cornerstone of PMP framework. Why integration matters? Everything can be silo, right? No. Think of each planning activity as part of a car. Your scope is the engine. The schedule is the transmission. Your budget is the fuel system. The quality is the steering and suspension. Each of these components may function well individually, but without proper integration, the car doesn't move forward efficiently. So this is where you come in as a project manager to do the integration. You are the one who's going to see the big picture and ensure that all the moving parts work together, don't contradict, and stay aligned with the overall project objectives. Okay? And then you'll also think about which life cycle am I supposed to use? Choosing the wrong approach can lead to missed deadlines, wasted resources, especially money, frustrated stakeholders, and ultimately your project will fail. But when you choose the right life cycle, predictive, agile, or hybrid, you increase your chances of success dramatically. Okay, so like I said, predictive is waterfall, also known as waterfall. It's a traditional project management approach, and it's best. It is still usable where you have requirements which are fixed, well-defined upfront. The work is linear and sequential, and stakeholder change tolerance is low. Deliverables are needed in one final release. Okay, that's fine. So for this, usually they use for like infrastructures or construction of certain places, houses or something. And you will also next look into agile life cycle. What is best for agile? Requirements are evolving or unclear upfront. You have a one-liner requirement, it happens. You need early and frequent delivery of value. The client stakeholders want to co-create and stay actively involved. Flexibility and speed are more important than perfection. So this applies to tech, marketing, innovation, startups, and education also. Okay. And last but not least, hybrid. You have the best of both worlds. Most real world projects now aren't 100% predictive or 100% agile. They have become a blend. So hybrid approach are useful when you need predictable governance and agile flexibility. One part of, give me a moment, sorry. Okay, so one part of your project is predictive and another one can be agile, that's possible. And you want to manage risk incrementally, but also provide simple but structured documentation and accountability. Okay, so you have to choose the right life cycle. It's just like how you choose the right lens. It shapes how you see and solve the entire project. And once you learn how to shift between these approaches, you don't just manage projects, you orchestrate outcomes. Then we move on to day 3. Here, your role as a project leader comes to life. Why? Because you're going to do execution. It's about giving you the tools and techniques to execute the project confidently, keep them on track, and deliver value even when changes, risk, and resistance show up. So day 3 mostly will cover these points and more. In fact, these are the main points I've taken it. You'll manage the risk and changes. Okay, how to identify, assess, and respond to risks using qualitative and quantitative techniques. How to implement risk response strategies like avoidance, mitigation, acceptance, and transfer. And the role of a change control board. Why do we need them? Why can't I just have one? I like this change, I want to change this. It doesn't work that way in companies, right? How to create project artifacts, where you are, what are artifacts? For PMP, it is called the evidence. The evidence of performance, accountability, and alignment. How are you going to maintain the project documents? How are you going to prepare dashboards and communication artifacts for different stakeholder levels? Not everybody want to be like to have emails, or not everybody would like to have WhatsApp. So you have to have the communication matrix. Then how are you going to manage communication and stakeholder management? Project success is not just about doing the work, it's also ensuring the right people know what's happening, why, and when. So you build what? The communication management plan, the techniques for conflict resolution, expectation alignment and feedback loops also will go through, and how to lead effective status meetings, handle difficult stakeholders, and how to keep everyone focused. Last but not least, execute to deliver business value. This is the mindset shift that sets PMP professionals apart. So these are the things you'll learn on our day 3. So day 3 is going to be a 10 point. You'll learn how to plan. Now you'll learn how to lead. You'll gain the tools to keep your project on course, your team engaged, and your outcomes aligned with business success. Projects are never static. Even the best planned project will face unexpected changes, new requests, and unforeseen issues. So this is what? The chaos zone that separates good project managers from great ones. Why? Because it shows how you handle the chaos. You're prepared. Why do you have to learn about this? Because in PMP exam, you are expected to lead through disruption while maintaining alignment with project goals, scope, stakeholder expectation, and your team. Remember, people. And here you will learn about managed scope changes, which is like, what is the most dangerous project killer? Uncontrolled scope creep. How to manage that. And then you will learn how to do the change control process and all these things, where you track and resolve issues, and how to maintain an issue log, how to maintain version control for project artifacts. Because when your project evolves, your documentation also will evolve. But without version control, you'll be working with the wrong thing, you'll get the wrong stuff, your accountability becomes unclear. Let's not go into that. Get everything sorted out. So, projects don't fail because of change. They fail because of poor change management. And in PMP course, you will become the calm in the storm. You'll be like, relax, I can manage. The project manager who can lead through chaos with structure, confidence, and transparency. When working in agile environment, traditional project tracking tools like Gantt chart and baselines are not enough. Agile project teams need lightweight, visual, and fast feedback tools to keep progress transparent and responsive. So these are the agile metrics that come in. we talk about what? The velocity, where we measure the team capacity. Velocity is a measure of how much work your agile team completes in a single sprint. So we will talk about it, we'll practice it. And now, because why is it needed in PMP? They will ask you how you're going to calculate the velocity using story points, user story, and other units of work. How are you going to use it to predict completion timelines? What to watch out for when velocity is inconsistent and how to address it? Yes, these all will come in the questions. So we have to be prepared. We have to learn it. We have to implement it. We have to practice it. Burn down chart. The next one, agile metrics they look into is burn down chart, where you visualize remaining work to track how much work remains in a sprint or release over time. The goal is to reach zero by the end of the iteration. So it'll show you visually how the team is on track or is it falling behind. It helps the stakeholders to see the progress without technical details, just the how the chart is. And it will highlight the bottlenecks early. Next is the burnout chart, where you highlight achievements. So it's like it's like the opposite. It's similar to burn down, but it emphasizes what's been accomplished, not just what's left. So it'll track your cumulative work completed against a total scope line. It's very useful in projects where scopes may expand mid-project, shows team progress even when the backlog is changing. Okay, so if you can't measure it, you cannot manage it. And in Agile, these lightweight tools allow you to lead with clarity and adaptability. With the PMP credential, you won't just understand how to use these metrics. You'll know how to lead the teams and stakeholders through them. You can tell them how to see it and why they should see it. Okay? Now let's move on to day 4, where we shift the focus from managing tasks to leading people. Till now, I talked about planning, executing, monitoring, and dealing with change. But even the best plan will fail if your team isn't motivated, aligned, or supported. That's why day 4 is all about empowering you to be the leader your project needs, especially when things get tough. People domain of the PMP exam makes up 42% of your exam content. So mastering this area is not like it's optional. It's essential for the exam success and long-term leadership growth. So here we'll touch upon emotional intelligence, leading with self-awareness and empathy. Leadership starts with self-awareness. So we'll tell you, we'll teach you, we'll go through how to identify your own emotional triggers and blind spots. Understand the emotional dynamics of your team. Respond instead of react, especially under pressure. Use empathy to connect, build trust, and resolve conflict. Here we'll talk about Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence framework: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills, and how this should translate into better communication, collaboration, and project results. Monitoring and collaboration, where you guide stakeholders to project success. You're not just managing deadlines. You're building alignment and influence across departments, clients, and executive sponsors. So in this part, you will know how to mentor team members and grow leadership capacity within the team. How to engage stakeholders through collaborative planning, not just reporting. The importance of feedback loop, stakeholder mapping, adaptive communication styles, and how you will handle stakeholder scenarios that really happen in our work life. Next, we will see how to remove impediments. Sounds familiar, right? Because Scrum Masters also do that in agile environment. So every project faces obstacles, but successful project leaders clear the way so team can do their best work. So here you'll identify and prioritize impediments from unclear scope to team conflict to resource shortages. when and how to escalate issues effectively, how to apply servant leadership principles in agile and traditional settings. And we'll be doing practices a lot like how to use the issue logs, the blockers, how to run daily stand-ups, because PMP wants you to demonstrate that you're not just tracking issues, you're resolving them proactively and enabling process. That's why they have a lot of scenario-based questions now. They want to see how you react. And finally, we look into the foster performance, creating environments where team excel. Create a psychologically safe environment. How to motivate using interesting and altruistic levels. How to set clear performance expectation and celebrate wins. We'll talk about some techniques here, So, great project managers move forward. Exceptional ones move people forward. That's what we're looking at for day 4. And then we will be looking into this conflict resolution techniques in day 4 as well. How to look into things like the key conflict resolution techniques, which are collaborate and problem solve, where you have a win-win outcome through open dialogue. You have a compromise and reconcile, where you have to find a middle ground to move forward, smooth and accommodate. You have to preserve the harmony when the stakes are low. Force and direct. Yeah, sometimes you have to do that to take charge in urgent or critical situations. And finally, when to withdraw or avoid. Because not every battlefield is yours. So sometimes it's okay to step back, and that could be a very good strategic choice. So these are the things we will be covering on day 4. Next, stakeholder engagement in Agile. We will be talking about how we're going to do stakeholder engagement. How is it ongoing and how is it embedded and why is it essential to success? Daily stand-ups. Daily stand-up, or they call it daily scrum. A short 15-minute team meeting held every day of the sprint. So here you learn how to facilitate it efficiently. You just ask 3 questions. What did I do yesterday? What will I do today? What blockers are in my way? That's it. So how big your team is? Only these 3 questions, and you should time box within only the 15 minutes. Here you'll involve people like product owner and scrum master. Next is the retrospectives. Reflect, learn, then you go to sprint reviews, where you will demonstrate the working product increments to stakeholders. Because Agile, you're delivering in blocks. So yes, you can do for each of the working parts and get their updates, feedbacks. Then you move on to the retrospectives, where you reflect, learn, and improve. Here you will learn how to facilitate those retrospectives. So there's no blame game, and it's more on improvement focus. We use techniques here like start, stop, continue, to surface the feedback in an ethical way. Turn lessons learned into actionable improvements for the next sprint, and involve the key stakeholders when appropriate to build a sharing learning loop. And we will move on to product demos. This is where you deliver value with visibility. Here you're showing your agile deliverable to your stakeholders. A visual, tangible checkpoint for stakeholders. An opportunity to validate value and adjust the priorities. A space to celebrate team wins and also to engage sponsors. So we will be touching all this in our course. Just give me a few more minutes, yeah? And how are we going to manage team across time zones? When you are leading a global team across 5 time zones, managing remote contractors or working in a hybrid agile environment, you need more than just tools. You need the right strategy, mindset, and system to build trust, keep momentum, and deliver results. We will touch base this on day 4 as well. Supporting virtual teams, the logistics, how you're going to manage them across time zones, intentional practices that respect time, autonomy, and clarity. How you can do co-collaboration. Instead of trying to get everyone 9 to 5, which won't work because each time zone is different, you learn to set maybe overlapping hours or extra hours to accommodate them. And rotating meeting times. We had to be fair. So we say, okay, some meetings we have in this time zone and we have some meetings in other one. So PMP encourages you to build inclusive team norms. And in our sessions, you'll practice designing a rotating schedule that works across continents. You'll practice how to manage the team across the time zones. And clear decision documentation is very important as well. How are we going to do that? Like meeting summaries, decision logs, and collaboration using collaboration platforms, Confluence, Notion, to track what was decided by whom. And it's transparent. Everybody can go and access and see it. Okay, then we will also go into how you run effective one-on-one check-ins, because not all check-ins are equal. You can't do it in an open space. Even if you have a Zoom session, everybody is there, you can't do it. So you have to learn how to run it short, meaningful, focus on support, clarity, and motivation, not micromanagement. And how are you going to we'll give you like a quick things like how to create shared digital workspaces, because everybody will be joining through Zoom or Teams, and depending on the company's platforms, and how they can use platforms like Miro, Trello, ClickUp to build the visibility, manage dependency, see the tasks, and encourage self-management. These are the few things we'll have it, because remote is no longer temporary. It is becoming permanent. Although many companies are adopting coming back to office or having hybrid, but still there are still lots of roles stuck in remote. And PMP wants you to demonstrate how you can lead, engage, and deliver in such environment. Next, we move on to the day 5. It's about how we're going to do the business alignment and closure. Of course, ensuring the compliance benefits and the continuous improvement. So here, we are keeping business in mind. You identify the legal, regulatory compliance requirements. You ensure the documentation, activities, and reports meet relevant laws and standards, and understand the PMP expectation around governance and organizational process assets, OPAs. Okay, you can expect questions involving contract types, procurement documents, and how to close a project while staying legally compliant. You'll be learning how to evaluate project benefits and ROI, because projects are not successful just because they finish on time or within scope. They're successful when they deliver a measurable value. So you'll be learning with us how to track and measure benefit realization during and after project delivery, how to perform a basic ROI analysis, how to document validation, and what happens if anticipated benefits aren't achieved. Not all project is happy project. Sometimes you have failed ones. So how are you going to handle that? Support organizational change. Projects often drive change, but change also brings what? Resistance. So here you'll understand the principles of change management and its relationship to project management. How to support stakeholders during transition phases, especially during implementation or rollout. How to collaborate with internal and external teams for seamless change integration. We'll also be introducing models like quarters 8-step change model. So you have some frameworks which you can use in real life. PMP question may present change resistant scenarios. So here in our training, you'll get to know the language and tools to manage change constructively. And lastly, how to drive continuous improvement. Closure is not just signing off. It's about learning and improving. So how are you going to do the lesson learned sessions? How are you going to capture project insights in knowledge repositories? How to facilitate debriefs and performance evaluations. How to apply feedback loops. All these things will be touched on day 5. So you're not just managing a project, you're shaping outcomes that matter to the business. Okay? And on this day 5 itself, we'll talk about how you're going to deliver the promises, like using the compliance frameworks, industry standards, your company standards, how to adhere to that, benefit tracking, evaluation of the plan versus the actual project outcome. And like what I mentioned earlier, the ROI, cost benefit assessment, and business impact metrics. These are essential, and these are what usually the management will look for. And we will touch base on mastering procurement and contracts. Whether it's a small scale or a multi-million-dollar project, we still have to look into procurement. So we will go through those contracts recognized by PMP, fixed price contract, whether is it best for scope, well defined and unlikely to change. This is the best. Risk is higher for the seller but safest for the buyer. And even that has a lot of variation. Firm fixed price with incentive, fixed price with economic price adjustment. There are so many variations there. So here you have to learn how to structure each variation, and how to apply those variations. Is it benefit to apply that, or do I have to go for something else like cost reimbursement plus? Maybe that will work. Here is where you do all your planning and all your thought process. So here you learn to monitor costs, assess deliverables, and avoid scope inflation. Okay. Time and materials is a very, I would say, mostly used in a hybrid model where labor is billed hourly or daily plus cost of materials. It's okay to use for agile, short term, or when you need to have extra staff. So these are the few things we will be touching base on our courses. You have to know which model will suit what scenario. This is what PMP will look for. So you'll practice identifying contract types in real-life case studies and exam-style questions. Agile contracts, how do you build the flexibility in the agreement? All these things we will go through in our course. Excuse me. So here, PMI teaches us that the project isn't truly complete until it's closed properly, with the documented learning, stakeholder validation, and knowledge transition that benefits the business long after we are gone. We don't know, right? Sometimes our job is just for that project and we have to go for the next one. So you have to see what are the closing activities, how are you going to do the wrap up? How are you going to do the professional way of handing over things? How are you going to dismember the team that worked for you? All this, how to get the final approvals, everything we will be touching on the PMP class. Okay. And we have some common PMP myths here. Let's pause and look into this. They say, oh, PMP is only for senior PMs. This is a very common misconception because the thing is you have to have 10 to 15 years experience. But PMP is perfect for mid-level professionals, aspiring project leads, and even career switchers who wants to establish credibility quickly. Of course, they have some rules which you have to satisfy. I'm not saying no, but they are not very high-end rules, like you must have 15 years of experience. They don't have it. It's based on your education, your qualification, and your experience. How you can be eligible to take PMP. The next is they think PMP is too difficult to pass. I agree, the PMP exam is rigorous, but it's not impossible. Right preparation strategy, clear understanding of the exam domains, and daily discipline, PMP is absolutely possible. Okay, you need to have your own study roadmap because everybody learns differently. And some says it's only for IT professional. That's another big myth. It's applicable now for all industries like we have seen earlier. Construction, healthcare, oil and gas, education, banking, you name it, they are using it because everybody is now working on projects. So PMP gives you the framework and you modulate according to your domain. And the myth four is PMP is outdated. I'm not going to do is agile now. PMP certification is now hybrid ready and agile integrated. Like I said, half of the exam now includes question on agile and hybrid project environments. PIM book 6 and 7, agile practice guide, you'll get to work on real life agile scenarios in Scrum, Kanban, and Lean. We will be touch basing all this during our comprehensive 5-day course. So what will happen if I take PMP? You get more better opportunities. You'll get to have more better opportunities to have your promotion, or maybe you can go to a company you've been dreaming about. So PMP is your career pivot and a salary booster across all sectors. I will skip this due to the time constraint. Okay. So this is how your PMP journey will start. It's not going to be a theory-heavy Zoom call. That is not my style. It's structured, guided journey that combines Zoom delivery and expert-led delivery. Also, I will ensure that you have hands-on experience, because if you don't do it, you cannot learn it. Like what they say, you fish and give it to me, I can eat for one day. But if you teach me how to fish, I can eat forever. So that is my approach. We'll have real world case studies where you'll work with actual case studies across the industries, depending how I curate it, and revision and recaps, which is very, very important. We'll have that every day as a daily checkpoint. Exam simulation toolkits, we'll be sharing some exams, sample exam, mock exam, and also you'll have some templates which you can look into. Because what makes this class different is the other programs, you have a book and they'll say, okay, good luck. But our method, technical mastery, strategic business thinking, leadership agility, and mindset coaching. And it's beyond that. We are not just looking into books, we are looking into practice. So with that, I'd like to end my presentation. I apologize, I took 15 minutes more of your time because we started late, but still, I hope you find it very informative, this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Over to you, Tia.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Mariams. We have the attendance form and the certificate download link on our Zoom chat, so you can access that as well. And you may reach us through our website and also Miss Mariam's LinkedIn. I will pump it on the Zoom chat as well. If you have questions regarding the PMP or PMI certification, you can ask Miss Mariam directly. Is that okay, ma'am?
Yeah, sure, that's perfectly fine with me.
Okay, okay. So while you're answering the forms, while you're filling up the forms, may we ask Miss Gary to turn on your camera so we can have a quick photo? It's okay, Sir Gary. Okay, Miss Carr. Okay, just okay. One, two. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have questions regarding our forms and the certificate download, I will wait until you fill it up and download your certificate. Thank you so much, Miss Mariam, Miss Carr, and Sir Gary.